can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. That was literally my mindset, my prayer, my thoughts, my everything. And it was the I can't. This is too hard. Just the effort to wake up, get to school on time was more than a day for a sighted teenager. So it was just the I can't.
Today's conversation is about courage, but it's not the kind of courage we usually talk about. My guest today is Laura Bratton, and Laura lost her vision as a teenager after being diagnosed with a rare retinal disease. And by the time she finished high school, she was completely blind. But what strikes me the most about Laura's story isn't just the tragedy that she endured, but how thoughtfully she's navigated grief and identity, faith, and her daily choice of just continuing to move forward. Today, Laura is a speaker, an author, a pastor, a coach, and she helps people navigate change through what she calls this balance of grit and gratitude. And so in this conversation, we talk about grief and panic attacks, toxic positivity, and the moment she literally made a decision to choose being alive. This is a powerful and really honest conversation about resilience, and I'm so glad you're here for it. This is Rising to Resilience, and I'm your host, Sharon Hujik. Laura, you have a fascinating story, lots of things that I think are going to be really compelling to people. But before we get into your story, I just would love to ask you, how do you describe who you are today?
So if I only had one word, it would be courageous. Courageous sums up my life, where I am today, my past. That one word sums it up.
Can you tell us what that has meant to you or how that's changed from what you would have thought it meant to where you are now?
100% changed. So what I thought it was just was bravery that meant don't feel the pain, push through, get over it, move on, keep marching. What I've realized and why I use that word very specifically to define myself is it's going through and living every day with very hard circumstances and still choosing to move forward. So rather than sweeping it all under the rug, it's sitting, validating those hard emotions and still choosing to move forward, even when it doesn't feel good and cozy and comfortable and peaceful, still choosing to do the next minute.
So you were diagnosed at age 9 with a condition that caused you to lose your eyesight ultimately completely as a teenager.
Yes. So as a 9-year-old, the cells of my retina were deteriorating. It's so incredibly rare that they could not tell me, hey, you're going to go blind as a teenager. There was no roadmap. So a lot of people assumed there was like this countdown to when I was going to lose my vision. There was no countdown. We meaning my parents and I, we were not given a timeline. We were not given any guidance because it was that rare. All we knew is it would eventually happen. I could be 40, I could be 60, I could be 80. So the fact that it happened as a teenager was such a surprise to everyone, family, parents, doctors, researchers, everyone.
What do you remember about that season when your eyesight was fading? What was it about that people might not know or don't normally think about that was so hard about that?
Not giving me permission to grieve, trying to move me instantly to, you're strong, you're amazing, you're inspirational, you're going to figure it all out. You have so much energy. So, if I could say one thing, if people would just give others who are going through major grief to
Yeah.
sit in the pain and just feel the pain, because my anxiety and panic attacks and depression were actually worse in the grieving process because I was okay, let's get through it. Let's move on. Not just let's sit with it and validate how much you're suffering.
Take me back to that place where you were aware of the fact that I am going to be a 16-year-old who cannot see anymore. I know it was unexpected. Was it gradual? Did it happen really fast?
But it was gradual and it was over several years all at the same time. And what I mean by that was through the 4 years of high school is when I lost all my sight. And it didn't happen just one day. I went legally blind in middle school, reading large print, starting to use Braille, learn Braille. So it was gradual in that it wasn't just overnight, but it was very quick in that over 4 years to go completely blind is extremely rare. So I
Wow.
would lose a significant amount of sight and it would stay the same for about a couple months or a year. And then I'll lose a significant amount of sight and then it would stay the same for a while. So that's why I say it was fast and slow all at the same time.
I can only imagine, like, it just must have been so scary that it felt like it was slipping away.
No, because at each point, we thought it would stop there. At each point of losing my sight, we thought, okay, well, this is how it's going to be forever. So there wasn't this, the scariness was actually losing the sight. The scary part wasn't anticipating full blindness. The terrifying, overwhelming part was living in the moment where my current vision was.
What were your fears at that point? What was the fear that or the voice saying to you that was so scary?
I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. That was literally my mindset, my prayer, my thoughts, my everything. And it was the I can't. This is too hard. No other teenager around me is having to go through this level of adapting and adjusting and figuring out life. They're figuring out life with full sight.
Yeah.
Just the effort to wake up, get to school on time was more than a day for a sighted teenager. So it was just the I can't. That was the dominant mindset.
Was it like resentment towards God or towards life that, like, how dare you, or why would you, or why me?
So it wasn't resentment early on. It
Okay.
was just that I do not have the strength. It was the constant literal panic attacks and just severe depression of I don't want to put forth the strength I have to put forth.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The idea of having to do everything that was normal,
Right.
that was so much harder
That
than
was so much
that
harder.
was I mean, how do you confront those those thoughts? How does somebody look at circumstances that are so overwhelming and keep going?
So my parents would remind me, yes, the future's overwhelming. Yes, it is uncertain. Yes, we don't know how it's all going to work out. So all we have to do is focus on today. And when I say today, I mean that very, very, very literal Monday morning, Thursday afternoon, Friday night. Like, focus on the actual moment, hours. I mean, there were years where all I could focus on was getting from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that literal of all I could focus on and say, okay, I can have the strength to get from waking up to through, the first class session
Okay.
in high school. So that's a long way of answering your question, taking it moment by moment rather than being overwhelmed with anxiety and depression of the whole future.
Hmm. Because when you let your thoughts go to the future.
It literally shut me down. Like, and I mean that very, very literal. So I had to take it piece by piece, section by section.
You mentioned already just how hard it was that people weren't letting you grieve. This idea that, people wanted you to get over it and feel positive and move on. I don't even know what
Yeah.
words I would use to describe it. What do you know now about that experience that you can speak to for other people, or even for somebody like yourself who's going through something so radically hard?
So I have to share a short conversation I had with a mentor because she taught me so much about grief in a 3-minute conversation.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah, right. Yeah, perfect for type A person. So right before is the week before I was starting a freshman year of college, and I was in a academic advisor's office, and we were talking about scheduling and books, and had nothing to do with psychological mindset and grief, right? And so I'm getting up to leave, and she said, "Oh, Laura, I just want to tell you one more thing before you go." So I thought she was like, "Oh, Professor so and so, is a great professor or whatever." And she said, "I know that you feel like you grieved the 4 years of high school. And now that you're starting this new chapter, now you can move forward in life. I just want to give you permission and tell you that the grief process does not have time because of the way you lost your sight and because you'll always be blind. Grieving is a continual process that you'll experience at different levels throughout the rest of your life. And that's not a weakness. That does not mean you haven't grieved your blindness. That doesn't mean you haven't accepted your new normal. That doesn't mean you can't move forward. I want to give you permission to grieve and to move forward all at the same time." And then she was like, "Okay, have a great day. See you. Bye." I was like, of course, at the time, I'm like, well, that I didn't really need that. Yeah, I'm done grieving. I'm good to go. And then slowly realized that was information that would literally change my life. Giving permission for people to grieve because we feel like grief is in this compact little box. And I grieve now, and then I move on with the rest of my life. We don't realize grief is just woven throughout our life experience. And that doesn't make us weak. That doesn't make us less than. It just means it's a part of our human experience and we can grieve and move forward.
Wow. That's such a powerful, it's such a simple thing, and yet it literally, unlocks healing.
Yes, you said it perfectly. It unlocked healing because if she had told me that when I was a ninth grader, that would have been a game changer. Because it was like I was always fighting. Oh no, don't grieve, don't be sad. And I'm like literally swallowing the tears. I'm trying to convince myself and others, oh, I'm not grieving anymore.
Was that like an external pressure on you, like, that you shouldn't be sad anymore? Like, we all know this has happened, so just get over it? How do you understand that now?
It was both and a mixture of culture, environment, in turn, just the pressure I put on myself. So remember, this is the southeast of the United States in the late 90s, in a very Christian culture setting. So it wasn't, no one like directly said to me, "Oh, don't be sad anymore." It wasn't like a direct conversation.
The expectation was that you would just see the goodness in this loss?
Right, right, right.
Huh.
And it's just in our world, like, right? Like, we don't do grieving well, right?
Makes us
In
uncomfortable.
Yeah, in my experience, we just don't do grieving well. Even now, people that I work with are like, "Oh, well, I have 7 days to grieve. I need to be back to work in 3 days, so I need to be good." And it shocks people when I'm just like, "No, no, you have longer to grieve."
So I'll ask this, and I mean, like, were there moments where it was almost insulting? Like, people were like, "Well, come on, be grateful or get over it," and you just were like, "You don't get it?"
No. Yeah, I probably said that. If I had a penny for every time I said, "You don't get it," the whole world could retire. Literally, I mean that. Um, what was insulting was the "You're amazing, you're inspirational." I'm like, "No, I'm trying to survive the day." Like, there's no, like, superhuman strength going on. Like, I'm just tapping into a level of strength we would all have to tap into if we needed it.
Yeah. Like, they're trying to make you into sort of like a superhero,
Yes. Right. Right.
resilient goddess of, like,
Right.
perseverance.
Exactly.
You never feel
Ex
sad because
exactly.
you've dealt with it, and the truth is, you're just trying to
I'm just trying to survive and get through the day with one less panic attack than yesterday.
'cause I think that's the thing, your pain isn't going away.
Right.
This problem doesn't
Right.
resolve.
There's no end. Right. Right. Right.
So can you remember, like, if you look back, where do you remember, like, a certain moment when you had, like, you have a choice in terms of what you do or how you're gonna respond? Like, these are not options that you would have picked?
Yeah. I do. Well, both and. It was a series of small moments that led up to kind of that moment I'm gonna describe in a minute of choosing, but then after that moment, still choosing every single day. So I do if I had to give one moment, it would be in between high school and college, I got my first guide dog. And so when you get a guide dog, you go to guide dog school for a month and you get your dog on about the Wednesday after you get to school. And I very vividly remember it was a Wednesday afternoon after lunch, about 1 o'clock. And I was sitting on my bed in the dorm room waiting on the trainer to bring my guide dog in and introduce us for the first time. And it was in that moment, totally alone, 3,000 miles away from home, that I just remember saying, okay, I've had a lot of support. I've had all these little moments. Now is the time I choose how I'm going to respond. And every day since then, and multiple times a day, I've had to choose that courage.
Yeah, because it is fundamentally an act of will of what
Yes.
am I
Yeah.
going to let
Yes.
my
Yes.
heart meditate on, my mind meditate on, like, what am I going to do with this?
Yes. Yes. 100%. And again, I just want to make it clear and also give people permission. Once we make that choice, life is not linear. It's not like I made that choice and I never again felt depression or I never again felt resentment or just towards life or I never again had another panic attack. I still have panic attacks and the moments of depression is what I do with those feelings. I choose to say, this is how I feel now. And I choose to keep going and keep believing in myself and trusting in my self confidence.
Is it almost like now that there's a like a recognition of like I know what this is. I know what this panic attack is doing.
Perfectly said. I recognize what this panic attack is doing rather than, my gosh, I've had a panic attack. I'm going to be a panic attack the rest of my life. So, yeah, you said it perfectly. It's a recognition rather than the panic attack being this black hole that I'm going to fall into and never recover.
Right, because it's almost as if, like, part of your brain can recognize, like, "I've done this before. I've
Oh,
been in this season before."
1000%. And I've also been on the other side, right? I know what this
Yeah,
means, and I know there's something on the other side.
yeah, because I would have to imagine most of your high school years were like, "I am just going to survive."
All of them. Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
survival.
Yes. It wasn't until that really college experience that it was like, "Oh, I'm not living hour by hour, day by day."
Okay, like, that you could start to imagine that there's a horizon that's further away.
Right. Right.
What does it mean when you're getting a guide dog? Like, what did that represent? I mean, in my mind, as a sighted person, like, I think, "Oh, that gives you independence and freedom," but sitting on that bed waiting for that dog to come to you, was that what you were saying yes to?
Yes. Yes, and I would say and I wouldn't say this in the moment because I didn't realize it, but what I would say now looking back, I was thinking of the literal physical independence.
Okay.
What I did not realize is the guide dog gave me so much emotional, mental, spiritual independence. They all loop together. And again, for me, I can't just say the physical independence has nothing to do with the other mental, physical parts of me because I had that physical safety of navigating the world independently. I could then have the energy to focus on rebuilding my confidence, my self compassion, my self love. So, again, that's why I say they're all intertwined.
Yeah.
In my experience, I can't separate them.
Yeah.
Yet in that moment, sitting there on that bed, I thought it was just physical.
Okay. So you were like, "I'm gonna reclaim my physical freedom," but what you
Right.
didn't realize
Right.
Was
Was it
that
was all connected.
it was all like that it was gonna open up a door for you to have.
Yes. Like mind, body, spirit,
Yeah,
in my perspective, in my experience, cannot be separated. They're
yeah.
all connected and overlap and interlap.
So, like, strength, not just to be brave to step out into a
Right.
crowd of places you haven't been, but other
Right.
types of strength as
Right.
well.
Right.
Yeah. And hence your word of courage.
Yes. I was choosing life over not continuing to live.
Yeah.
Very
Literally.
literal.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the drive that you were fueled by? Like, was it your faith? Was it your family? Was it this hope that there was
So
something?
it was definitely the support around me that as I'm in these panic attacks, as I'm in this depression, as I'm not wanting to keep going, keep living, the support around me was saying, "We believe in you." And it wasn't through their words, it was thankfully through their actions. And I
Yeah.
say that very deliberately because if it was through their words, I would have said, "Oh, please." I would
Right.
have done the whole eye roll teenage girl thing,
Yeah.
right? Like, "Are you serious? Come on now."
Yeah. Was that your parents? Was that your like therapist? Like,
It was my parents,
okay.
it was my brother, it was my friends who were like, "Hey, let's memorize every word on the 17 songs on the CD."
Yes.
Yeah, so it was that just that normalcy of like, "Oh, they still wanna go to the mall with me and buy that new CD. Oh, well,
Yeah.
okay, that sounds good." Like,
Yeah.
I wanna lay in my bed and just drown myself in this panic attack, but they wanna go to the mall and grab the CD and eat pizza, you know? It
Mhm.
was but at the bottom line, if I had to sum it all up, it was others believing in me and believing I had a future and believing there was a way to live life without sight when I didn't believe in myself.
Yeah. I'm putting myself now into the role of your parents because they were probably grieving too, but also I know what it's like to be a parent with a child who's depressed and struggling and you just don't know what to do.
Right.
And the candor that it takes to rally through that to support your child feels Herculean and hard and impossible, and you're just so scared all the time.
All the time. And they're going through their own grieving process, right? We are so uncomfortable with grief. We wanna when we're around other people that are grieving, we just wanna, like, sweep it away, like, take a broom and just, like, brush it, just sweep it out of the kitchen, you know? We want to get rid of it as quickly as we can. But that the oxymoron, when we sit in it, we heal and move forward quicker because we give those emotions room to breathe.
Yeah.
Sitting in the pain for a time. And that's where mindfulness has absolutely been a game changer for me. It allows me to acknowledge what I'm feeling, to sit there and then choose to move forward, to observe it, not judge it. So, a very practical example on a real world day, if there's a moment in a day, not if, when, there's a moment in a day where, let's take anxiety. I'm feeling super anxious. You have that sort of nauseous feel of your stomach, that shortness of breath, rather than just saying, "Oh, let me get on Facebook, let me get on Instagram and kinda drown this away." Just take 5 minutes, sit there, feel that intense, like, nausea, like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna pass out and throw up all at the same time. I can't get my breath." Feel that for that 5 or 10 minutes, that hour. Feel what you're feeling, validate it, and then choose to keep going. That's the balance. Not because I used to think, "Let me wait till this anxiety passes, and then I'll keep going." Well, guess what? That anxiety is gonna be here forever. So I have to feel that deep anxiety, acknowledge it, and the balancing is continuing forward even in the anxiety.
And I think that's the difference between this toxic positivity that all of us cringe from, or like, there's always a silver lining, or, oh, you,
There's always a lesson. That's my favorite one. There's always a lesson.
and I feel like it's often distancing.
Is it feels distancing. Like, you over there are amazing. I'm glad you went through it, not me.
Yeah, right. I would never want to do what you have had to do, but
Right,
I'm so glad you're doing it well. And
exact.
yeah, right? Like, sometimes I have to remember, like, I would have been the same way 15 years ago. I would have said the same stupid thing. So there's a grace that goes
Oh my
out
god.
there.
Yeah. Yes, I had a friend in college who called me out on that. I was just so frustrated, angry, and yelling and like, "Oh my gosh, these people are so stupid."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, "Think about the response of someone who's gone through a major life change and the response who hasn't. You're fine with someone's response who's gone through a major life change. Like, you don't get upset and angry and agitated at their response. Give them grace. They don't intentionally mean to distance. It's just
They don't know what
they
you know.
can't relate, right? So it's not deliberate. And once I could receive that, I was way more graceful in people's response.
Yeah, your life has moved on from college. After college, you have chosen some pretty remarkable paths and chapters. Would you feel comfortable sharing more about where life has taken you since then?
Absolutely. So in college, I majored in psychology. And at the end of college, I realized I'm not in this healing process just from a mindset. It's not just mindfulness or it's not just going to see a therapist and doing cognitive behavioral therapy. There's more to it. So I got a master's in theology, very specifically to study spirituality, specifically as we heal. How does this play a role in our healing? So what I do now is combine the physical, the spiritual, the emotional, the cognitive, all of it together. So, what I wrote a book on and what I speak on and what I coach on is how do we navigate through change, no matter how big or small that change, we categorize that changes, change is change. When we go through change, how do we navigate through and not get stuck in the depression, stuck in the anxiety, where that's our permanent, dominant
Yeah,
emotional experience?
yeah,
How do we navigate through change, grieving it while also moving forward? So that's why I focus on the balance of grit and the balance of gratitude
yeah. As tools.
as tools to say, I use this, they worked. I've worked with other people and they work. You go use these tools, how they apply to your life and what and see how they work for you in your change.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is really important, this loss of what do we do when life doesn't go the way we planned. And I know in my personal journey, my faith, but I think in general, like religious traditions and different faith traditions, like they have answers to those questions. We have thousands of years of humanity and mankind having grappled with these big questions before.
Right. Right. And that gives a lot of security and confidence to know like, oh yeah, humanity's been through this before.
Yeah. Yeah. This is not new to me. Well,
Right.
it's new to
Right.
me.
It's new to me, is not new to like my inner experience.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, you work as a pastor
Yes.
in a faith community.
I was yes, so I'm ordained in the United Methodist Church and serving as a pastor, and my strength in that is the pastoral care, supporting people in that spiritual role as they go through life. Not just like the traumatic changes, but just all the life.
Yeah,
To walk alongside people and be that pastoral spiritual presence
yeah,
is deep, 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 deep passion.
yeah, and I feel like it is another, like, really beautiful, but also, like, critically important facet. You have these tools that you can speak to what you'd want them to know, and it's not theoretical. I think that's the power of what resonates about your story so much to me is, like, you've walked the talk. Like,
Yes.
you haven't just read the Bible and been like, "Oh, well, this is what God says about it." Like, you're like, "This is what I've done in my life."
And I can absolutely say from a firsthand experience, and this is very true story. I took part of the ordination process and part of the seminary process is to do internships in chaplaincy and hospital chaplaincy. It was the first summer of my internship as a chaplain in a hospital. Into the first week, and five of us are sitting around the table with our advisor, and we're going around the table. What were your experiences this first week? And so there were a few people before me, and they're talking about, oh, yeah, I'm 86-year-old. We talked about the weather. I'm at the 60-year-old, is showing me pictures of the grandchild. So several people went before me, and it got to me, and not intentional or not realizing I said, yeah, I saw this 86-year-old and we talked about, that she's got 6 months to live. I saw this 40-year-old who has 3 kids at home and just been diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I rattle off like 10 or 12 suicide, like major life issues. And my professor just let us keep going. And when everyone talked, she kind of told me after, she said, Laura, did you recognize the difference?
Yeah.
And I said, well, yeah, everyone else talked about their weather and their grandkids. And I was dealing with suicide. Like, what the? I literally said to her, what did I do wrong? No, I mean, honest to goodness, like she can tell you all these years later, we still laugh about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I fail? Are you going to kick me out of the program? What did I do wrong? Like, I didn't mean to do that. And she said, it's your lived experience. When you walk in the door with a guide dog, people don't know that you just went blind. They don't know that's your first guide dog that you've had for 2 years. All they know is that you have experienced life in difficult ways that other people have not. And so that weather talk, grandchild talk, they don't need to go there first to build a rapport. They can instantly talk to you about the deep stuff. And that's a gift that you bring into every hospital room, every pastoral interaction. It was that your life experience cut the rest of that out.
Gosh, you can't see me, but I'm crying because it's just like this, like, you would never pick this. You would never pick it, and you're uniquely prepared to meet people in a season where they're scared out of their mind and facing the biggest life questions and the hardest thing they've ever done, and, like, you can meet them there. Right, I'm all choked up,
Yes.
and I hate to say it, but it's like, then it kinda makes sense, right?
Right, right. To give us purpose to the pain.
Yeah.
Because those interactions with people just show me, yes, you would not choose this. Yes, this is hard. Yes, this takes strength that you feel like you don't have. And you're giving a gift to people
Right.
that other people can't provide.
Yeah. There's like, they don't get it. They
Right.
they
Right.
it's
Right.
easier to talk about the weather.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Right. So, it is a hard and beautiful story of
Yes.
courage and resilience. And I mean, I think like I say this all the time, like resilience is not bouncing back. It's not
Right.
pretending that things don't,
Right.
it's
Right.
literally like acknowledging the things that hurt and then
Acknowledge, yes.
choosing choosing what to do next.
Choosing what to do with that hurt.
So now on a day-to-day basis, what are the practices that you're using to stay grounded in that truth?
The first thing that came to my mind when you said that was gratitude. And I want to make it very, very clear. It's not being grateful for the circumstances. It's being grateful for what helps me navigate through the circumstances. So again, it's not being grateful for the blindness is what helps me navigate through each day as a person without sight in the sighted world. Like, it sounds hilarious and people laugh, but I'm so serious. I'm deeply grateful for Siri. I'm deeply grateful for Alexa. Like, that has changed my whole world, So it's those practical moments we don't even consider gratitude
Yeah.
that I'm deeply grateful for.
It's like
I'm
staying in that
it's
present thing, that awareness that you talk about.
Just that awareness. Yeah. And I'll give you a very real world example that happened early this morning. So as I got up and, we're all getting ready for a day and getting ready for work and for school, I was changed the thermostat to a higher level so that he could come on and we were all warm in the house. I'm so deeply grateful with technology. I can do that on my own. I'm not saying to my husband, oh, will you go to the thermostat and set it to 69? So that's what I mean about the everyday practical moments that I'm grateful for.
To pay attention to it, to notice, like, this is a gift. This coffee and the warmth it creates in my body, or that sunshine hitting on my face, or that opportunity to smile at somebody, or Mm,
Literally, yeah, just that moment is that's what gives us that gratitude, and the gratitude gives us strength.
yeah. Yeah.
right? So a lot of people say, well, so what? Then you're grateful, right?
No, but so what means that you're refilling the well that you need to keep drawing on. I think that's it.
That's it.
And the vision I always have in my head is refilling this well that I need to keep pulling out of. Like if I don't add things into it, I start hitting the bottom of the well and I'm done. Like I've gone too far.
Yeah, that's perfect image.
If the
Yeah.
empty light is coming on in the car, I need to get more gas. So I can't just keep going. I have to refill it.
That's such a good analogy. Like when then the red E or whatever comes on, you're not gonna say, I'm just gonna drive across the country now.
Yeah, let's keep running the marathon. Let's keep doing this really demanding thing.
Right. You're gonna go to the gas station and get gas to fill up your car so that E turns into full, right?
Exactly, because we need the gas. Like we
Right.
need it to be able to do the work, right?
Do the work. That's a perfect, yeah. Thank you for saying that well. That's a perfect visual.
Like don't neglect that warning sign. Like stay attending, make sure you notice it. Yeah, Laura, I'm so glad that our paths crossed and that we've had the chance to have this conversation and it's beautiful and it's remarkable to me. Like, I'm not blind. I don't have the burden that you have, but the things that you're sharing are so relevant to me, I think they're relevant to all of us because it's everybody has something that's hard that they're being asked to carry.
And what I always tell people, mine is just obvious, and for out there, everyone out there to instantly recognize, most of ours are internal that we would never see or recognize just in a casual conversation. So it's not that other people don't have things going on. We all do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not about pretending it's not hard.
Right. 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 It's about acknowledging the hard and making the choice.
Thank you, Laura. It's so good to talk with you today. It's a pleasure to host you on Rising to Resilience.
Thank you for hosting this platform because we all need resilience and we don't know when and how much of it.
Yeah. But boy, am I glad to have friends like you who can share her story and share the wisdom that she's gained and the knowledge that she understands about it. So thank you. Laura's story reminds us that resilience, it's not about pretending things are easy, but it is super important that we acknowledge what hurts and then still choose to move forward. And it comes down to just one moment at a time, one choice at a time. If this conversation encouraged you, I hope you'll share it with someone who might need to hear it today. And if you enjoy these conversations, be sure to follow Rising to Resilience so you'll be alerted when new episodes are posted. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.